everyone. Welcome. So glad you could join us today for our session, keeping 200 plus reps on brand, Ultradent's sales and marketing enablement story. Delighted to have Kazra Modaged, Program Manager of Marketing at Ultradent, and Amy Knackley, the Creative Services Coordinator at Ultradent. Very excited to have them deep dive into Ultradent's use case of the DAM and how they're leveraging it to create sales opportunities for their reps. Um, just a couple of housekeeping notes before we dive in. Any questions you have kind of about what Kazra and Amy are discussing, please feel free to knock them into either the chat or into the Q&A section. Hopefully we'll get to them at the end of the session. And then don't worry if you want to share this with your team, a recording will be sent out tomorrow. And with that, yeah, let's get cracking. So Amy, I was just wondering if you could just give us a little snapshot of kind of Ultradent and the role your team kind of plays in supporting just sales enablement in general.
Yeah, sure. So Ultradent is a dentist-created dental product manufacturing company. And my team is actually the internal creative services team. So we create all of the marketing materials for our sales team.
Awesome. Okay. And then kind of before implementing a DAM, any kind of idea what challenges your reps were facing with accessing and using sales content?
Yeah, so before we started the DAM system, we were just using a server. So searching took forever. Weren't sure what files were recent and needed to be used. They were large files. So it took quite a bit of time to find what they needed, and it wasn't always what they needed. So
Fair. Okay. So I'm assuming there was a lot of back and forth between sales and marketing and pushing back here and there. And then
yeah.
sales would use outdated kind of assets and it doesn't look too great. And then a bit of pushback from both sides. Okay. So a little bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. And then Kazra, I'll pop this one over to you. Kind of what made you realize that a dam was the right solution? And was there anything about MediaValet that kind of stood out in particular?
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Happy to be on with you all. Yeah, as Amy mentioned, in our industry, we quite a few assets. We have a pretty expansive catalog, and we have everything, from 3D renders, product images, sales and marketing materials, you name it, all the way through video. And with having such a big catalog, it becomes pretty difficult to manage it all on a server file path. I mean, it's doable, but it's time consuming to dig up assets, find what you need, and share it with the proper stakeholders, especially on the sales side when you need things quickly. So we definitely, Amy and I came in at an interesting time. We almost got to re-implement MediaValet as a DAM and make the modifications to make it work for our team. So having a system with the searchability, the ease of use, the user interface of MediaValet was a no-brainer, especially considering how many assets we have and need to get out into the field.
Okay, fair. And did you always find it was kind of relatively easy once you kind of got up and running with MediaValet to find what you needed to create the portals that you needed, and same for the sales reps?
Yeah, I would say, the dam is great. What we call internally the main media valet, where you have everything, not the portals, that is definitely much more user friendly, like I said, than a server or other systems for file storage. But when it comes to the sales team, they need a few additional streamlining pieces there, and that's where the portals really came into play. When I say we re-implemented that's we quickly realized that having our sales team go directly into the dam when they're out in the field
Mhm.
visiting offices just wasn't the most reasonable or time like efficient
Yeah.
way to do things. So that's when we dove into the portals, and we got on them pretty early on, and they've improved over time. So we found that it has been generally very easy to create what we need for our sales team and as well as the dam itself internally.
Okay. Um, so obviously it's a big lift trying to get a bunch of like I know it's sales, it can be a lot of turnaround, a lot of like new people in the door, kind of people moving around. How did you guys kind of approach onboarding like over 200 sales reps to a new system? Were there any strategies that kind of helped support adoption?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say again, it was when we first rolled out the dam and had the sales team working directly in there in the field, we quickly realized what was working, what wasn't working, and then when the branded portals came online, we had the opportunity to take that feedback from the sales team and kind of line it up with what the branded portals could do and realize some quick wins and solving a lot of the pain points for our sales team. So in terms of getting them onboarded, like you said, it can be challenging. Definitely a fast-paced world in sales, tough to get everyone on even multiple trainings. So we really leaned on pre-recorded trainings,
Nice.
building everything out, building the functionality, examples, use cases, and creating these pre-recorded trainings that the sales team could reference at any time, and also it could be shared with new hires.
Okay, nice. And I do know Ultradent is pretty much a worldwide kind of distribution and manufacturing. Was there
Mhm.
any kind of language situations that you had to get past, or was it all kind of English was the standard, or did you ever do any variations?
Yeah, that's a great question. Here at headquarters, it is primarily English, but we definitely do use MediaValet to deliver the English version assets to our regional teams for translations.
Mhm.
MediaValet has helped with that, whether it's using collections or directly pulling out of the folders in MediaValet. That's streamlined things as well, as opposed to, the old school way of emailing zip files and whatnot for translation. So that has streamline that process as well.
Nice. Was there any particular feedback of note that you would have gotten back from the sales reps once kind of the branded portals were fully up and running and everything was kind of going smoothly?
Yeah, I think overall the adoption skyrocketed pretty quickly, getting the branded portal online, and then as various improvements for those who have been with Media Valet for a while. Once we got the multi-select download going and the quick scroll with the categories and the reporting as the functionality built out in branded portals, the adoption only has improved with our sales team. So they've gone back again with the branded portals for them often being on mobile, whether it's a tablet or a phone.
Mhm.
Using the branded portal is just much easier for them in the field, and that's been consistent across the board since we launched.
Okay, sweet. And then would you check like the analytics kind of side and the reporting just to see kind of adoption take up and
Mhm.
everything like that? And okay, nice,
Definitely,
nice.
absolutely.
Um, and then kind of on a day to day, like what could you give us like a walkthrough or just a generalized sense of how the sales reps are using the dam and using the branded portals?
Yes. Again, they use this specific portal. We put it all in one place, and the idea behind it from the get-go was only put high usage assets for the sales team within this portal, so they don't have to navigate through a ton of stuff. And of course, they'll lean on the search function oftentimes, but we didn't want to build it out to the point of, the dam where we have thousands of assets that they need to sift through. So keeping it relatively tight in terms of what's in there has made it easy for them to continually go back and be able to pull their needed assets in real time when they're out in the field or before they go into an office, knowing what they're going to focus on for each appointment. So it really is just a in the moment, day of type thing. Where they can quickly access their needed assets and to support their meetings and hopefully convert sales.
Nice. Any chance you could give us a little bit of a walkthrough of kind of a
Yeah,
day in the life of a sales rep going through the branded portals and how they might
uh,
use it?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Love to. All right. So here is the Ultradent sales portal, and you can see we have it branded. That's another thing that may seem small, but having this look and feel to it, making it look like a slicker landing page, just b boosts that engagement and level of user friendliness when folks first sign in, especially if they're pulling this up in the field in front of customers. So you can see here along the left-hand side, we've tried to keep it relatively tight in terms of what we're including and grouping them again just based on high usage assets and sorting these in a manner which hopefully they can do the quick clicks if they want to and have those in order of what we're seeing in the reporting in terms of what's being accessed and also again leaning on the search functionality, but I'll do a quick scroll of how we have this laid out. I mean, promotions are obviously a big thing in any sales org, so we'll have our current up-to-date sales promotional flyers and sheets for our sales force in here at the very top. Something we love across the board is, the asset update feature in the DAM, having it just go live immediately in the portal is very nice if we need to pull something day of, especially using that expiration feature as well for things like promotions that have a finite runtime. Again, some loyalty stuff on the promotional side. At a glance is we really have the whole spectrum of high usage assets for our reps, whether it's sample requests, PowerPoints, sales sheets, and then marketing materials for some of our biggest brands. We have it all easily stored in here, and one that's a newer addition that I'd to shine a light on is the social post. So we've actually started leaning on our teams to spread certain social content, and putting it in the sales portal has been a really easy way instead of how they used to do it with assets across the board, really of going into teams and downloading from various chats or asking somebody, bugging Amy about, oh, where can we find this? Now we have it all in one place. And even with these social posts, they can easily download and put it on their company accounts right away and help boost our current initiatives.
Awesome. Okay, this is yeah, quite a decently sized branded portal. Would this be the standardized one you'd send out to the sales teams, or would you have different ones depending on who the sales team is or where they're located? Or
Yeah, that's a great question. So we use this one for everyone. It's one portal for the full US sales team. Everyone has access to the same things in here, and that has made it easy for us now. Just throw a plug for something we're excited about in the future is the new experience portals with
Mhm.
MediaValet. We're looking at a few different use cases there to really be able to scale this up to the dealer and distributor level outside of the US, where we have
Mhm.
different sales orgs and different models. So being able to have different layouts and different accessibility based on region, based on account type. So that is something we are looking to do in the future. But as of right now, with branded portals, this is just for our US sales team, and we have it pretty streamlined in that we have everyone using the same portal.
Perfect. Okay, nice. Well, I appreciate you giving us that little show and tell.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I think it looks great. You've done a great job with it. Um,
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so Amy, wondering kind of how would you feel that the dam has kind of helped maintain brand consistency across, like Ultradent is massive, and how have you seen it kind of maintain brand consistency across the organization?
So yeah, it makes it a lot easier actually. It allows us to put like our design files on there. Like Kat said, we have videos, 3D renders, product image photos. And so all of these things kind of make it easier for our global teams to access these assets so we can ensure that brand consistency across the globe.
Okay, nice. And have you seen kind of specifically yourself any impact on, say, reducing time on your end, kind of having to give stuff out to people, kind of getting all these asset requests? Like, how has it made your life easier, I guess?
Oh, yes. I would say, honestly, probably between 40 and 50% more efficient. People know what's in MediaValet is the most recent. They don't have to come to me asking for things. The search function alone makes it easier. I mean, I don't know if anybody has ever tried to search for something on a server, but it is not very easy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then do you kind of create different admin levels of like permissions of kind of what people can access in the dam in general? That's kind of something that you kind of keep tightly
Yeah, so
organized.
we have different user groups that have different accessibility based on what they need access to, what assets.
Okay, nice, nice. And Kazra, this one I'll ask for you, but has there been any features like branded portals, permissions, or Azure SSO, or any of those kind of ones? Do they help like your day to day and help kind of enabling the sales team too?
Yeah, I think, the permissions can be helpful. We have a few use cases for it, but more looking to the future, I think, again, going into experience portals and being able to have a wide array of permissions will be really helpful as we scale some of these ideas globally. But within the branded portals, yeah, internally, I think it has streamlined and cut a few steps out for sure.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. Well, to finish us up, I guess, any advice that you'd kind of give to other organizations either looking to scale sales enablement with the DAM? Kind of how could they get started, or what would be the first steps for them in kind of getting this up and running?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to start over, is how I would lead with this one. I mean, a dam can be daunting at times getting it up and running. And then once you get it up and running and realize you may have some gaps you didn't think about, or things are evolving with your use cases or internally with the organization. Just a big plug for the Media Valet team, super supportive across the board, both on the customer success side and the technical side. Dave Malloy on our end is always eager to jump in and get us to solutions as quickly as possible. And the technical side as well, we had a project to integrate with Azure and get SSO going throughout the organization. That was a great partnership with our internal team here, marketing, IT, and then also the technical team at Media Valley to get that set up. And that's been great for adoption and accessibility throughout the org. And then, Amy and I on the starting over note, we both came into the picture shortly after Media Valley was initially launched within Ultradent. And, as time went on, we realized there was definitely room for improvement in how we had things structured and tagged, and how we were getting things out there. Hence the branded portals. So we decided to kind of do a ground up rebuild and map the whole thing out again. And the Media Valley team was there with us every step of the way. So I would just encourage folks, it's obviously going to take time and effort and energy, but it's well worth it. And as Media Valley is building out the functionality, I think it'll only make more sense to really try to custom cater it to what your organization needs. And we found great success having that project go all the way through and go live now and have things set up exactly in an optimal way for our team.
Nice. So you completely tailored it to your suit your needs and what you needed, and not just a standardized approach. You kind of custom sorted out. Nice,
Definitely.
nice.
And once everything's in there, it's much easier to move things around. So it may seem like, oh, we already put everything in here and created our folders and, the categories and attributes, everything set up. But, having that bulk edit and moving capabilities in Media Valley, you can really map it out in a way where it will go smoother and quicker than you might think if you do need to restructure things.
Okay, nice, nice. Well, look, Kaz or Amy, really appreciate you jumping on quickly here to just kind of give us a little bit of an inside scoop on how Ultradent uses the dam. I'll open the floor up to a few questions. So if anyone who's watching does have anything they're kind of curious about, maybe Kazra and Amy can answer it. And let me see if we have anything so far. Okay, we do have one in here. And then either Amy or Kazra, I'll let it up to either of you to answer. But have you heard any feedback from the sales reps kind of directly about the branded portals?
Hear you, Amy. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I mean, with any sales org, especially when we're talking the volume that we have over 200, you're going to get feedback both types. Like they are in there a lot, which is great. So they have, they'll come with suggestions or things that they would like to see in there. But then there's also a lot of positive feedback, like we mentioned earlier, just in terms of how much time it's saving them as opposed to having to sift through the dam and find exactly what they need when they're in the field on mobile. It's just not the most realistic experience, or spending time the night before pulling assets, getting everything ready for their full schedule. They have a lot more real-time capabilities now, which is, leading to quantifiable time savings and efficiency for them. So that would be the biggest positive feedback that we've received, is just that ease of use and being able to pull up high usage assets quickly in a central place. And then yeah, they're always eager to see like how we can improve it. So the whole team is again very invested in the branded portals and looking forward to new iterations like the experience portals.
Okay, nice. We have one other, and I think Casper, you might have touched on this already in the last kind of final question, but if you could kind of give anyone advice on scaling sales enablement successfully with a DAM, anything there?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously big proponents of using the branded portals, especially in a similar industry where you have sales reps that are physically like on the road and
Mhm.
going to multiple stops. Like having a convenient one-stop shop would be great. And then when it comes to what I would recommend everyone do is start simple. So if you can try to keep it with one portal, see how it goes, and then scale and create different versions from there, because the training may seem straightforward, but you will have to get that initial adoption and see what types of adjustments you can make to cater that and scale it up to, if you want to get more specific by region or specific business unit teams like that is definitely, I would start simple and then scale up from there with what the learnings you find in that initial round.
Okay, yeah, no, great advice. Well, it looks like we're done on questions. But again, Kazra, Amy, really appreciate you jumping on. It was very interesting chat. And yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your day.